Chapter 11. I want to slow down but I can't. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What is this? Li Congxin sat up from the bed. Go to sleep, don't get up. Wu Kaishan pressed him down again. There are 10 longevity pills in here. Each pill can increase your lifespan by 100 years. Eat these first. In a few days, Master will make another bottle for you. He stuffed the jade bottle under Li Congxin's pillow. Chu Fij and Yi Susu on the side widened their beautiful eyes. In the path of spiritual practice, in addition to seeking to be strong, there is also the pursuit of living longer and longer. Therefore, the longevity pill is the dream of any cultivator. However, this elixir is extremely difficult to refine. There are no more than 3 people in the entire Tianqin continent who can refine this elixir. Over the years, I don't know how many cultivators have knelt outside Wu Kaishan's door day and night in order to beg for a longevity elixir, but he turned a blind eye to them all. No matter who knelt down for all eternity, they could not move his iron heart. The 2 women, who were already considered to have a particularly good life, now have a personal experience of what it means to have a good life. Li Congxin, who originally planned to end his life at the age of 20, was smiling bitterly in his heart. His master really loved him. There is a reason why Wu Kaishan dotes on him so much. When Li Congxin was 4 years old, Wu Kaishan wanted to refine an extremely unique elixir. As long as he succeeded, he could use this elixir to be promoted to the emperor. During that time of making the elixir, he mobilized all his disciples to protect the furnace, but because the elixir was too contrary to the rules of heaven and earth, he failed in the end and directly exploded the furnace, causing more than 7,000 of his disciples to be wiped out on the spot. Only Li Congxin had been standing behind him because he had no ability to protect the furnace, holding his clothes with one hand and picking his nose with the other. Therefore, from that time on, he only had Li Congxin as his little disciple. From then on, he turned his guilt towards all his disciples into love and care, and placed them all on Li Congxin. If Li Tianba is a love without a bottom line, Wu Kaishan is an endless favor. Disciple, anyway, just don't be depressed. Wu Kaishan patted Li Congxin's hand. Life is capital. As long as it lives long enough, dogs can become immortals. Don't be impatient, let alone be sad. Take everything slowly. Just grow at the slowest speed. My teacher will continue to extend your life. At this point, his beard curled up and he said arrogantly, "Humph. After 180,000 years, I don't believe that those 16 or 17-year-old kids can still be better than you." After saying that, he gave Chu Fij and Yi Susu a very unpleasant look. The 2 women shrank back in fright. Ahem. Li Congxin smiled bitterly. Master's words make sense. But now even if I want to use the slowest growth to satisfy your old man's love, he can't do it. Ding. A breakthrough in cultivation. You have entered the 6th level of soul-shaping realm. You see, I upgraded again. After listening to Wu Kaishan's words, Li Congxin did feel this way, shaking his head and sighing. What qualifications and talents, in the face of an absolutely powerful background, really don't seem to be that important. Yep. Wu Kaishan looked happy, finally letting Li Congxin figure it out. Seeing that he had enlightened his disciple, he also consciously gave up his position. Okay, then I will not disturb the private life of you young people. Originally, I wanted to spend more time with Li Congxin, but today's timing seemed a bit wrong. He arrived rashly and obviously disturbed their small world of 3 people. Master, I'll come see you again in a few days. After that, he left happily. Before leaving, he threw a small black bottle next to Li Congxin's pillow. This is Dolly pill. Don't take more of this. You can only take 1 pill at a time. He waved his sleeves and left, then stepped on his feet and disappeared into a ray of light. Chu Fij and Yi Susu's pretty faces turned crimson. He stared at Li Congxin nervously. Li Congxin didn't want to move at all. Let's continue. Seeing that he didn't care about the Dolly pill, the 2 women felt relieved. Soon, the hazy room returned to its previous scene. A cute girl sitting on Li Congxin's lap, and an elegant girl sitting on the edge of the bed, massaging his whole body, under the hands of those who were able to seize destiny and be full of spiritual power. Li Congxin felt his muscles and bones soothed, as if his soul was in the sky, and he soon fell asleep in a daze. Shoo! Seeing that he was asleep, Yasusu quietly stood up from him, gently took the quilt and prepared to cover him. A genius cultivator like her is naturally immune to all diseases, but her cousin is different. He has been very delicate since he was a child, and he will catch a cold if he is not careful. Boom. As soon as the quilt was covered, Li Congxin, who had not deliberately restrained himself after falling asleep, burst out with a burst of dazzling light, which directly caused the quilt to fly into the air. Isusu was shocked. He stepped back in fright and whispered, "What's going on?" Chu Fij on the side also looked shocked and whispered, "Is this a breakthrough in realm?" "No way." Yasusu is even more beautiful and startled. The two women were confused and looked at Li Congxin with confused expressions. The room was quiet, and Li Congxin slept soundly. After a while, Yasusu breathed a sigh of relief and gently touched his chest. It must have been just a coincidence. So he covered Li Congxin with the quilt again. She soaked Li Congxin in water and warmed his bed every day. No matter how hard Li Congxin tried, he finally made a breakthrough after a long time. Isn't it strange when you think about it? Boom! Just as the quilt was covered, a burst of dazzling light burst out from Li Congxin's body, blowing the quilt up again. The two women were shocked. At the same time, they lowered their voices and exclaimed, "How is this possible? That he obviously did nothing now, just sleeping quietly. How could he break through again? This is too incredible. Even if he has super talent, it is absolutely impossible, because Isusu is known as invincible talent. Chu Fij is the daughter of destiny and the son of luck, and her talent is even stronger than words. Isusu, am I hallucinating?" The room was filled with spiritual energy, and the vision was hazy. Chu Fij also had this idea. Isusu stretched out her hand and pulled Chu Fij's cheek. "Does it hurt?" Chu Fij, "Yeah, it hurts a little." "Isn't it an illusion?" Isusu was confused, but she still covered Li Congxin with the quilt out of habit. Boom! The quilt that had just been covered was blown away by the light bursting from Li Congxin. Yasusu, Chu Fij. The two women were stunned on the spot, and the surprised expressions on their faces could not be described in words. Li Congxin was really breaking through while sleeping. For a moment, Chu Fij's eyes when looking at Li Congxin completely changed, with a lot more awe and respect. When they first met, she saw him lying lazily on the bamboo chair and thought he was an ordinary person. She felt very wrong to serve an ordinary person, but now she is sure that Li Congxin is definitely a genius, a super genius she has never seen in her life. With a super background and extraordinary himself, serving such a person doesn't seem to be too wronged. Yasusu's little face also showed a kind of admiration and pride. Who said her cousin was a waste? Her cousin awakened today. Her cousin is the real talent that is invincible. In any case, she still covered her cousin with the quilt. Boom! Just after covering it, it flew up again. This quilt can't cover him well. Winning the lottery. Congratulations, you won a 10x crit reward, 10 longevity pills. Winning the lottery. Congratulations, you won a 50x crit reward, 50 longevity pills. Winning the lottery. Congratulations, you won a 100x crit reward, 100 longevity pills. Winning the lottery. Congratulations, you won a 500x crit reward, 500 longevity pills. Winning the lottery. Congratulations, you won a 1000x crit reward, 1000 longevity pills. Winning the lottery. While Li Congxin was sleeping soundly, the system had quietly switched to silent mode, and it had been reminding him more than 10 times a second for the whole night. Chapter 12. Turn on the system step counting and get rewards for every step you take. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Morning. When the sun shines through the colorful auspicious clouds in the sky and falls to the ground, the trees, flowers, and grass on Iran Peak all turn into colorful glazes. The sound of a cockcrow not far away woke Li Congxin up. Still lying motionless on the jeweling bed, he squinted his eyes comfortably. Before traveling, he worked 5 jobs to support his family. For the first time, he didn't have to feel pressure to sleep until he woke up naturally. It felt really good. Fuck. Li Congxin was suddenly startled, seeing that he was awake. The system suddenly brought the character data page to his eyes like an angry little wife. Host, Li Congxin, age, 17 years old, cultivation level, Grandmaster level 1, item, 170 million longevity pills. Fuck. Li Congxin was shocked. When I woke up, I was in the master state. In other words, his cultivation level is now much higher than that of Yi Susu and Chu Fij, the two most talented geniuses in the world. The two girls are only at the peak of the martial king realm. There was a sense of leisure in his heart. If he could continue to become stronger without putting in any effort, then he would not refuse, but what really surprised him was the extra 170 million longevity pills. If one pill adds 100 years to your life, then you have to add 17 billion years to your life. Co-author, just because his master gave him a bottle of Shouyuan Dan, the system got jealous and secretly gave him the Shouyuan Dan overnight. What are you doing living so long? Do you want to drive all the turtles to extinction in the world? Ha! Feeling the cool morning breeze blowing on my body, I tilted my head and glanced at the quilt that fell on the ground, and frowned. These two girls are too bad at taking care of others, right? He must have been lazy and ran away as soon as he fell asleep. Young master, you're awake. Miss Susu went to the Holy Land to report and said she would come back in the afternoon to soak you in water and warm your bed. Chu Fij walked into the room, holding a bowl in her hand. The aroma wafting from the bowl made Li Congxin smell it from afar. Thinking of her current status and Li Tianba's instructions to her to serve Li Congxin well, she always felt that she should do something, so I went to cook a bowl of porridge for Li Congxin early in the morning. Yes, quite sensible. Li Congxin was a little satisfied, seeing that Chu Fij had changed his name to him and looked more respectful, but he didn't care. Feed me. Lying on the bed with his mouth open, like a baby bird waiting for food. Aren't you going to get up? Chu Fij was sweating. Li Congxin said. What are you doing up? Waiting for beautiful women, opening your mouth for food, and enjoying life, isn't that how it should be? As long as you don't treat me like a patient. Oh well. Chu Fij could only walk to the bed and start feeding Li Congxin with a spoon. The porridge was a bit overcooked and the taste was a bit bland. It could be seen that this was probably the first time Chu Fij cooked for a man, however, because it was boiled with the spiritual liquid in the spiritual pond outside, the rich spiritual fragrance overcame any shortcomings. Ding. The system is being upgraded. The upgrade failed. The upgrade failed. The upgrade failed. The system is upgraded for the 666th time. The upgrade is successful. Li Congxin was stunned. System, I'm just lying down and drinking some porridge. What's wrong with you? Tip, the system step counting function is turned on. At the beginning of the reappearance, the host only needs to get out of bed, and with every step he takes, he will receive a chance blessing from God. The total number of steps taken every day can be redeemed for an extra grand prize. Of course, you can also accumulate steps and redeem them for larger rewards. In short, the more steps you accumulate, the higher the quality of the rewards you can redeem. Li Congxin felt happy. This is interesting. Cut. But he didn't feel much surprise, let alone being fooled. Do you want me to move? He doesn't lack anything, and he has everything he wants. How would an invincible rich second generation like him care about a pie of 3 melons and 2 dates falling from the sky like an ordinary person? The lazy bed is so comfortable that you can't even afford it. Enjoying life does not necessarily mean lying down. As long as you don't struggle, work hard, and do nothing, you will just lie down and die. Therefore, the host can still take a walk after dinner every day. The system said earnestly, standing still is not life, it is a bastard. In order to make me stronger, you are doing everything you can to make me stronger. Damn it. Li Congxin felt resentful in his heart. He let out another long burp. Come on, take a walk with me. Get up lazily, you have to move around a bit. Otherwise you'll have to fart and smell bad if you miss your meals. The left foot just stepped out. Ding. You get 1 high-quality spiritual stone. The right foot followed. Ding. You gain cultivation for 6 days. Li Congxin. You're not in such a hurry to give it, are you? Isn't it only a step if both feet have gone? Are you just taking 1 step? Chu Fij's expression perked up. The son of the world's hegemon is going to do morning exercises? Or are you going to some holy place to practice? Because Isuzu has gone. As a cultivator, there is no way he would be free enough to go for a walk. This should be just a way for Li Congxin to say something before going out, so he quickly followed him. In the end, Li Congxin really just went for a walk, after walking out of the house, admiring the hanging colorful stalactite mountains in the sky and the rippling spiritual pool on the ground. He leisurely put his hands behind his back, not much faster than a turtle. 3 days of cultivation. 1 piece of top-grade spirit stone. 4 days of cultivation. 1 piece of 6th-level spirit pill. 1 piece of silver ingot. 1 piece of gold ingot. 100 pieces of reverse dog-licking gold. 1 pair of top-grade black stockings. 6 days of cultivation. Chu Fij followed Li Congxin on tiptoe, fearing that if she took a little longer, she would overtake him. Boom. At this moment, a dazzling light burst out from Li Congxin again. Chu Fij stumbled, looking at Li Congxin's radiant back. Her pretty face was filled with horror. Oh my God, what kind of terrifying existence is this? God. Monster. He kept getting stronger while sleeping. He also broke through while walking. Which genius wouldn't be broken-hearted and lose his faith when seeing such a person? Cluck. Cluck, cluck. While strolling, Li Congxin came to a fenced lawn, where he saw a group of chickens with snow-white feathers strolling like him on the hazy lawn. It was the crowing of these chickens that woke him up this morning. These are the spiritual chickens that Yasusu feeds, and they are prepared to raise them to supplement his body. Did that girl forget to feed the chickens this morning? He muttered to himself, and then waved his hand. Wow! A patch of spiritual light, like dense beans, a handful of spiritual pills were sprinkled into the grass, immediately attracted a group of spiritual chickens to rush over to peck at the food. The delicate-looking spiritual chickens sang and danced happily. This scene made Chu Fij's mouth open so wide that he could stuff a whole chicken head directly into it. He actually fed the chickens with the longevity pill. System. Reminder: if the system product is not approved by the host, it will have no effect on other people or things after use. Li Congxin, isn't this my approval? System. This system is just a special reminder. Chickens fatten with elixirs, well, they must taste good. Li Congxin muttered to himself and sprinkled a few more. To be honest, feeding chickens is actually quite tiring, so he picked up the bowl of chicken feed and poured out a bowl of longevity pills directly from his sleeve. He stuffed the bowl into Chu Fij's arms. You don't have much to do in my Iran peak, so you can help me cut flowers and feed chickens in the future. Chu Fij was stunned, holding a full bowl of elixirs. Stupid, completely stupid. The worldview collapsed. Li Congxin smiled leisurely. Of course, you can also eat with the chickens. I don't mind you stealing chicken feed. Chu Fij. But she didn't think Li Congxin was insulting her. Instead, she hurriedly said, "Young master, I will definitely take good care of these chickens." She had never left Iran Peak since she came to Tianqin continent. At this moment, she had a thought: did she come to a plane that was higher than her original world? The upper world? The fairy world? Even the gods in the fairy world would not be so extravagant as to feed chickens with elixirs, right? The divine world. Chapter 13: The Angry Brother-in-Law. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In short, Chu Fij is now sure that Li Congxin will not take her life. Let me ask, a person who feeds chickens with longevity pills, would he care about her mere destiny and luck? Becoming Li Congxin's mascot may be a blessing and good fortune in her life. Li Congxin looked at the system step counter. Current number of steps, 498. Oh, so many. No, this round trip is almost over 1,000, I can't walk anymore. Walking more will exceed the scope of walking, and it feels like working hard in secret. So he turned around and walked back leisurely. Behind him, Chu Fij's voice calling the chicken came. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Cluck, cluck, cluck. While calling happily, he grabbed a few elixirs and threw them out, then took one from the basin and put it in his mouth, chewing it gently. His face was filled with happiness. Not long after, Li Congxin fell asleep on the bed again. Today's steps have reached 996. The host can redeem the daily step total prize at any time. Reminder: when the steps reach 1,000, the total reward level will be increased. Walk a few steps when you have nothing to do. Does the host want to make it an integer? Walk a few steps when you have nothing to do, Li Congxin said. You want to trick me, that I'm too lazy to walk, system. Do you want to redeem the step total prize? Li Congxin, no, just let him accumulate. At this time, the 4 holy places of Tianqin continent, the falling dragon holy land. My son is back safely. Seeing Xiao Zhan return safely from the Taiqian holy land, Xiao Wuye was very excited. Father, that was a close call. The frightened Xiao Zhan also looked like he had survived a disaster. I thought I was done for this time, but I didn't expect Li Congxin to be afraid of the pain of bone replacement, so I was lucky enough to keep the supreme bone. God bless my son. God is so kind to me. Xiao Wuye knelt on the ground with tears streaming down his face, thanking the heaven, the Lord and Son of a great holy land. Almost couldn't help crying together out of grievance. It can be seen how miserable and aggrieved they were under the suppression of the great tyrant emperor and the bullying of the Taiqian holy land. If we keep the supreme bone, it means we have saved the future of my fallen dragon holy land. Xiao Wuye seemed to see the dawn of hope. Although Li Tianba is invincible and Taiqian holy land is powerful, Li Congxin is a waste and they have no future. Zhaner, you are different. Only when the descendants are strong can the future be strong. No matter how strong the emperor is, he will eventually retire under the baptism of time. You have the supreme bone. You just need to work hard. Many years later, when Li Tianba falls, it will be the time for my fallen dragon holy land to rise. After being oppressed for a long time and unable to turn over, you can only rely on self-comfort. Xiao Zhan was shocked. His father's pie seems a bit too big. A great emperor, if he does not fall unexpectedly, can look down on the world for 1,000,000 years. After 1,000,000 years, he doesn't know whether Li Tianba is still there, but he probably won't even have a bone residue, and even his great-great-grandson won't even have a bone residue. After escaping death, he just wanted to regain his composure. Father, I'd better go back to the house and lie down for a while. As a result, Xiao Wuye grabbed him. In 3 days, the deep-sea secret realm that only appears once in 10,000 years will be opened. This secret realm contains a lot of natural treasures that can help people rise against the sky. Zhaner, you must not miss it. He sternly rebuked. No one in the world can become strong by lying down. The road to invincibility is fought for, not imagined, and certainly not lied down. My child will follow my father's teachings. Xiao Zhan's expression was lifted. I will go and prepare now. Falling Phoenix Holy Land, looking at Yi Feng who returned safely, like Xiao Wuye, Yi Cangxiong also breathed a sigh of relief and slumped in the chair. After a while he said in a suppressed voice, although Li Tianba is invincible and Taiqian Holy Land is powerful, Li Congxin is a waste and they have no future. Fenger, you are different. Only when the descendants are strong can the future be strong. Double pupils are the way to invincibility. You have survived a disaster today and will soar to the sky in the future. Sunday Holy Land, since his daughter and Li Congxin got engaged, he felt that the Holy Land was safe, and the Holy Land director had been in seclusion since then. Ren. Li Shuang, at this moment, Ren Huchong, who was welcoming his sister back, clenched his fists and his eyes were angry. Laugh at me, bully me, humiliate me, bully me, I can tolerate it. Bang. He punched a pillar hard and smashed it to the ground. He almost shouted in a hoarse voice, but no one can bully my sister. After that, he walked out of the hall angrily. Brother, what are you going to do? Ren Li Shuang hurriedly chased him and grabbed him. Ren Huchong said fiercely, I'm going to kill Li Congxin. Ren Li Shuang was horrified. No, there are so many strong people in Taiqian Holy Land, you will only die in vain if you go like this. Ren Huchong held Ren Li Shuang's cheek. His heart was broken. Sister, for you, I can fight anyone. Gnashed his teeth, even if it's Li Congxin, the young master of Taiqian, who is the strongest and most powerful second generation in the world and no one can afford to offend. Brother. Ren Li Shuang was touched, and whispered, actually, I volunteered. Blushing, he bit his lips. With his identity and status, he deserves any woman in Tianqin continent to change his name. Stop talking. Stop talking. Ren Hucheng screamed with red eyes, his emotions collapsed. Sister, the more you do this, the more my heart hurts like a knife. I know you are doing this for the Sun Holy Land, in order to prevent me from being impulsive, so you endure the humiliation and say this. Ren Lishuang said, what I said is true. Okay, don't pretend. Ren Hucheng flicked his sleeves and said sternly, I've endured enough. Even if I die this time, even if I lose the entire Sun Holy Land, I will use my life to exchange for his life of Li Congxin. After that, he waved his sleeves and sacrificed the long sword, stepped on the sword and flew up, rushing towards the Taiqian Holy Land at the fastest speed. Brother, don't be impulsive. Come back. Looking at her brother who broke through the air, Ren Lishuang stamped her feet anxiously. What she said was true, but her brother just didn't believe it, but she couldn't catch up with her brother's master-level strength. Iran Peak. Cultivation plus 2008. Cultivation plus 2123. Afternoon, the system counts steps, and grows 1,000 times by lying flat. In addition, the spiritual spring released by the system nourishes. Li Congxin, who had just finished soaking in cousin's fluid comfortably, lay on the bed. Unknowingly, his cultivation level has been promoted by 3 small levels. Can't stop at all. Cousin, brother is here to see you. He could hear his cousin Li Ye's rough and loud voice coming from the middle of the mountain while he was lying in the house. This voice, like thunder, can repel ghosts and evil spirits. A moment later, a strong young man with blue veins and tendons all over his naked upper body came to Iran Peak. Hey, good stuff. When he saw the upside-down stalactite mountain hanging in the sky, he first exclaimed, his eyes immediately lit up again, he grinned and said, new sister-in-law. He looked her up and down and said, well, not bad, she is stunningly beautiful, quite pretty, my brother is not at a disadvantage. Chu Fij, who was trimming grass beside the spirit pond, blushed. She whispered shyly, no, I am just the young master's mascot. She also heard the voice and knew that the visitor was a relative of Li Congxin, so she did not dare to stop him. Li Yi was shocked. You are playing so fancy. Ha ha ha. He laughed and started shouting again, cousin. While shouting, he raised his arms like a bodybuilding coach and walked towards Li Congxin's house with a dragon-like and tiger-like step. This walking posture would scare cows away 3 steps. He is indeed the genius of Taiqian Holy Land, known as the first horizontal refining king. Chapter 14, My cousin is sincere and the system works hard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When he entered the room, he saw Li Congxin lying lazily on the bed. Li Yi shouted, hey, what's the big deal? Look, my brother is so unhappy that he is sick. Thank you for your concern, cousin. I'm fine. Li Congxin's ears were buzzing because of his thunder-like voice, and he couldn't help but frowning slightly. I just want to lie quietly, but there are guests coming and going. People, it's true that if you are poor on the street, no one will ask, but if you are rich in the mountains, people will know. Li Yi certainly didn't believe it. You are already on the bed, and you are still frowning like this. You still want to deceive me. Then let me lie down for a while. Facing this straightforward and generous cousin, Li Congxin was too lazy to explain to him. He directly ordered him to leave. I knew that this test would hit you hard. Li Yi didn't care. He consoled her. It's just that my talent, root bone, and godhood are all of the lower level of ordinary products. You and I are the same. Look, I am still famous now. Can you be the same as me? Li Congxin, who was getting stronger while lying down, wanted to laugh. Li Yi obviously didn't understand what he meant, and smiled awkwardly. Brother, don't be depressed, really don't be depressed. Li Congxin's entire family is a peerless genius. It's no surprise that Li Yi is also the same. Li Ye's talent, root bone, and godhood are indeed of the lower level of ordinary products, but his physique is a natural heavenly tyrant body. This kind of super strong physique is unique in Tianqin continent, so, he is known as the first horizontal refining king in Tianqin continent. He knew that Li Congxin was no match for this. Look, brother, am I not here to help you? As he spoke, Li Yi took out a sharp short blade and gestured to Li Congxin with a grin. Ah, this. Li Congxin mistakenly thought that he was coming to free himself. Indeed, living as a waste is a waste of firewood, rice, oil and salt. What do you want to do? That a beautiful figure flashed to the bedside of Li Congxin with a cry outside the house. Her beautiful eyes were full of evil and her face was frosty. Standing with a sword in hand, Chu Fij knew that she could never stop the man in front of her, but she did not hesitate at the critical moment. New sister-in-law, don't get me wrong. Li Yi grinned. This is my heavenly practice method, the great evolution body refining technique. First, he took out a practice method and put it on the bedside table of Li Congxin without saying a word, and then put the blade against the aorta of his wrist. Brother, since you don't have talent, bones, and godhood, then you are the same as me, just practice horizontally. I have the body of the heavenly tyrant, and my blood is invincible. From today on, I will let you bleed and drink, 1 bowl a day, and in just 1 year, I guarantee that your body will be stronger than the wild buffalo in Taiyuan. Then, as long as you work hard to practice this great evolution body refining technique, you will definitely be able to embark on the path of the strongest horizontal practice. Chu Fij held the sword and widened her beautiful eyes. It turns out that I misunderstood. No need, no need. Li Congxin also had a sweaty face. Cousin, this is really not necessary. I know you are worried about me. Li Yi said generously, don't worry, I am very strong, and my body of the heavenly tyrant is super strong in recovery. I can still cover a bowl of blood a day. After that, he began to relax his body, loosen his muscles and skin, and prepared to stab himself, because under normal circumstances, even earth-level weapons can't hurt him. No, no. Li Congxin shouted, don't stab yourself first. He knew that he was good to Li Yi, but he didn't want to cut his wrist and bleed to repay him. Li Yi didn't cultivate spiritual power, but only practiced the body. To achieve the strongest, he needed more high-level resources to temper his body. Because Li Congxin was a waste, he gave most of the genius and earth treasures given by his father, master, and sisters to Li Yi over the years. That's why Li Yi was able to grow rapidly. He eventually became a generation of horizontal refining king, so, he was also very kind to Li Congxin. Li Congxin couldn't help but sigh, cousin, but you are too good to me, ding. The system prompt sounded, Li Congxin. It was my mistake, I shouldn't have praised others. The system is upgrading, the upgrade failed, the upgrade failed. The 520th system upgrade, the upgrade was successful. Prompt, the system is currently in a state of heavy damage, but it still does not affect the normal operation of the function. Prompt, the host has obtained the strongest body in the Buddhist world, the Great Thunder Sound Vajra Indestructible Divine Body. Special prompt, the Heaven Tyrant body belongs to the saint-level physique. The Great Thunder Sound Vajra Indestructible Divine Body belongs to the God-level physique. Congratulations, you won the horizontal training method, the God-Demon Muscle chapter in the lottery. Special prompt, the Yen body training is only a heaven-level method, God-Demon Muscle chapter belongs to the God-level method, 2 levels higher. May I ask if the host wants to practice the God and Demon Muscle chapter? The system was obviously a little excited, but in return, Li Congxin treated him coldly, no. The God and Demon Muscle chapter, when he heard the name, he thought of the Devil Muscle Man. He still likes a more refreshing and elegant temperament, but he doesn't want to be like Li Yi, who has a body like an iron tower and tendons like a bullfrog, giving people the first impression of a barbarian. Besides, horizontal training of the physical body is the most difficult, tiring and tormenting way of cultivation. How could he, a lazy person who just wants to enjoy life, practice this thing? After finding out Li Congxin's thoughts, the system is being upgraded. The system has been upgraded for the 463rd time, and the upgrade is successful. Reminder, you have enabled the instant full-level function. The host can directly comprehend any skills, magical powers, and their various doors and paths by just looking at them once, and instantly reach the full level. Li Congxin, who had no desire, still responded indifferently, "I'm too lazy to look." System. Ding. The function has been upgraded again, and everything is done by the system. The host does not need to look at it himself, just confirm it, and it will reach the full level instantly. Directly reach the full level, because the training process is omitted, so the host will not become a devil muscle man, and will still be as elegant, handsome, and elegant as now. Li Congxin, then try it. With an invulnerable body, you don't have to worry about bumping into things. After all, sometimes accidentally bumping into the corner of the table is really a heart-piercing pain. Ding. The God and Demon Muscle chapter has been cultivated to the 10th level. It's okay. At this time, Li Yi, who had relaxed, put the short blade against his wrist and said generously, "New sister-in-law, go get a bowl to collect blood, I'll give my cousin a bowl of hot blood first." Chu Fij looked at Li Congxin inquiringly. Li Congxin hurriedly said, "Really not necessary." Seeing that Li Yi insisted on bleeding, he couldn't just watch him hurt himself, so he could only say, "Cousin, I'm going to show my cards and stop pretending." "What?" Li Yi was stunned. Li Congxin said, "In fact, I have already started to practice my body, practicing every day, and I have already achieved some success." Li Yi shouted, "No way. No way." Chu Fij couldn't help but blurt out, "Practicing every day. What I see is that you either sleep or lie down all day, and you don't even want to walk more than 500 steps. Where have I seen you do the hard work of tempering your muscles and bones? Why don't you believe it?" Li Congxin lazily waved his hand and threw it at the wall beside the bed. Bang. A deep pit appeared on the back of his hand on the wall. He really practiced it. Li Yi was shocked when he saw this. Zhu was overjoyed. "The whole world thought that my brother had no ambition. It turns out that they were all deceived by you. You have been working hard quietly. I didn't expect that my cousin had already shared the same ideals with me, and I couldn't help but get excited again. Let's go, then let's practice outside. Cousin, let me see what level you have reached." Patting his chest, "If you have any shortcomings, I can also give you some pointers." "No need." Li Congxin stayed on the bed with a face full of rejection. "I'm too lazy to get up." "Then don't get up." Li Yi said loudly, stepped forward and hugged Li Congxin horizontally, raised his head and laughed, "Ha ha ha." He took a big step and walked out of the house. Chapter 15. I finally saw what a powerful background means. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Fij stood there, looking a little dazed. In her world, not to mention members of the same sect, even clan brothers and even blood relatives would kill each other in various ways for the sake of profit. She had seen this situation too many times. She herself was even spied on and framed by people in her family. After arriving at Iran Peak, she saw the selflessness of Li Tianba and Wu Kaishan towards Li Congxin, and the purity of Yi Susu and Li Yi towards Li Congxin. She couldn't help but question, is there really such selfless and pure emotion in the world? Faced with such family affection, she, who had been admired by many stars, couldn't help but feel envious in her heart. Looking at Li Yi holding Li Congxin as he walked away, he couldn't help but murmur in a low voice, "They are so beautiful." After clearing his mind, he quickly followed, "Also at this time. You can change my sister's name to whatever you want. Such an insult is irreconcilable. You have a strong background, and Hu Chong can't defeat you, so why not trade lives with you?" Ren Hu Chong, who came to Yu Jian angrily, appeared outside Taigon Holy Land. Who? After landing on the ground, he took several deep breaths to adjust his emotions, forced away the anger in his heart, and showed a natural smile on his face. He came to avenge his sister, but even if you want to die together with Li Congxin, the prerequisite is to be able to go in front of Li Congxin, fight desperately, and have a chance to fight, so he had to control his emotions first. He knew very well how powerful the Taigon Holy Land was. With his level of cultivation at the Gangzong master level, if he forced his way in, he would probably be able to break through the gate at most, and then he would die without a burial place. arriving in front of a tall and majestic mountain gate. Ren Huchong was stunned when he saw the two great masters sitting cross-legged on the steps guarding the gate. Just now, he was overthinking. There was also a strong feeling of powerlessness in my heart. In this Taigon holy land, the gatekeepers are all great masters. How to compare? How can it be compared to other holy places? Remaining calm, he stepped forward and said, Ren Huchong, the holy son of Sun Yao Holy Land, came to visit young Master Taigon. The two great masters sitting in front of the mountain gate had their eyelids drooped and ignored them. Ren Huchong looked slightly embarrassed. He swallowed his anger and bowed. Two seniors, the younger sister is the young master's fiancée. Under the order of the younger sister, I, the elder brother-in-law, come to visit the young master. The two great masters raised their eyelids and said, Please come in. Thank you, senior. Ren Huchong was overjoyed. As long as he could enter the gate of Taigon Holy Land, he would have a good chance of killing Li Congxin. Enter the mountain gate. After a while, Ren Huchong stood on the spectacular and majestic square, looking around, looking at the fairy mountain peaks towering into the sky, and was immediately stunned. Damn, that was reckless. He didn't know where Li Congxin lived. Seeing a passing disciple in front of him, he quickly stepped forward and said, I am Ren Huchong, the holy son of Sun Yao Holy Land. I heard that your test was very unsatisfactory. Upon hearing this, the disciple immediately strode over, raised his head, and touched his eyes with his nose, shouting loudly, What, you want to see our young master's joke? Ren Huchong couldn't help but step back. My heart was sweating wildly. Damn, that's too arrogant. An ordinary disciple of the Taigon Holy Land did not pay any attention to him, the holy son of the Sun Yao Holy Land. That's not what I meant. That he swallowed his anger and quickly revealed his other identity. Ahem, I am your young master's brother-in-law. I am purely here to visit him. He dug around and took out a medium-grade spiritual stone from his storage bag, stuffed it towards the disciple, and said with a low smile, I hope my brother will lead the way. At this time, not far away, a Taigon disciple held up the storage ring on his finger and shook it. Wang Xiang, this month's sect salary has been distributed. Go and get it. It is a little more than last month, 200 yuan per person for high-grade people. Spiritual stone. It's not like I can fly anyway. I'll just go when I have time. Wang Xiang responded, without even looking at the thing in Ren Huchong's hand. He made a pop sound and tilted his head. Let's go. Lead the way. Ren Huchong held the middle-grade spiritual stone with an embarrassed look on his face. I never expected that an ordinary disciple of Taigon Holy Land would be so proud. He doesn't even have a storage ring. His monthly salary is only 150 spiritual stones, middle grade. It is worthy of being a powerful force that already dominates the world and is still plundering the outside world. The so-called Holy Land like them that survived in the cracks could only be envied. If it weren't for the purpose of avenging his sister, he would have immediately changed his sect and joined the Taigon Holy Land. His pride was seriously injured and he quickly followed the disciples' footsteps. After a while, the more I walked, the heavier my steps felt, the more depressed and out of breath I felt, and my back even became more and more numb, so I looked back. Hiss! He staggered on his feet and took a deep breath. It turned out that, at some point, there was a large group of people behind him in darkness, walking slowly in the void. Just use the sword directly. There was even one who turned into a 100-meter giant body under the aura and stared at him fiercely. A large group of people were silent, as if they were watching a crowing rooster or a dog thief. All of them stared at him fiercely. Staring at him, the aura they released turned into a large black cloud and thick fog that covered the sky and the earth. Ren Huchong walked in front, and behind him was a majestic cloud pressing down on him and spreading forward. No wonder it's so depressing. At a glance, among those people, there are many martial kings, grandmasters, and grandmasters everywhere. There are also many powerful martial emperors among them. There are even a few martial saints. No, there is a quasi-emperor pressing down behind. Ren Huchong's feet softened. I almost had diabetes on the spot. I'm just a mere mortal. I've just entered the grandmaster realm. How can I be so virtuous? Brother, let's go. Don't you want to see our young master? Wang Xiang turned around and said, Don't panic, these are our young master's guardians. Well. Ren Huchong promised, but his feet were almost giving up. He was really reckless. with so many strong men guarding him, how could he kill Li Congxin? Facing such a battle, let alone the holy son of Sunyao Holy Land, even if the entire Riyao Holy Land came, they would never be able to cause much trouble. I couldn't help but feel despair in my heart. In other words, the strength of the entire Sunyao Holy Land cannot defeat Li Congxin's personal bodyguard team. Wang Xiang was already used to it. It's just a small scene. The seniors responsible for protecting our young master all work in 3 shifts, and this is only 1/3 of it. Ren Hucheng almost knelt on the ground. In my heart, there is unparalleled despair. Now, he just wants to go home. He finally realized what it means to have a huge background. They are both the Holy Son, but the gap is like a chasm between them. He, the Holy Son, was probably no different from a soldier in front of Li Congxin. Everyone, please step back. At this time, a voice filled with great power came from the god-slaying peak, resounding in all directions. My son has been in a bad mood recently, so it would be good for him to go up to the peak to make my son happy. Hearing this, the powerful men from the Taigon Holy Land who followed Ren Hucheng showed respect on their faces. Boom. The dark clouds and mist receded quickly. The sky is clear again. Since the Holy Master has spoken, the Holy Master naturally knows that there is definitely no problem with the safety of the young master. He was so frightened that he not only broke out in a cold sweat, but his crotch seemed to be a little wet. Ren Hucheng quickly bowed at 90 degrees and cupped his fists to send him off. Thank you, seniors, for escorting me all the way. At the same time, my heart was ecstatic. Is this God's will? Is God helping him? Unexpectedly, Li Tianba would be so negligent and careless. The overlord of the world is so confused. What Li Tianba said about Daodu was what he thought Li Tianba said about Daodu, but what Li Tianba said about Daodu was not what he thought was Daodu. Wang Xiang pointed to Iran Peak. Our young master is on that mountain peak. Brother, go on your own. Thank you. Ren Hucheng, whose legs were light and fluttery, hurried away quickly. Since the sky was helping him, he was eager to die and his heart was filled with passion. Li Congxin, here I come. Shortly after, standing at the foot of Iran Peak, looking up, his expression was dazed. Gudong. Swallowed hard. I'm afraid the fairy world is just like this. Looking up at the mountain peaks wrapped in thick spiritual energy, Ren Hucheng murmured to himself that he had never seen a holy land of immortal blessings with such abundant spiritual energy in his life. The spiritual energy here is more than 100 times more abundant than that of Sunyao Holy Land. If I can practice here for a long time, it will be worth paying any price. With longing on his face, his admiration for Li Congxin was beyond words at this moment, and he even wanted to kill him immediately. Damn it, in such a fairy land, there is a useless person who can't cultivate. What is this but a waste of natural resources? Do you think you are angry or not? Do you think it is fair or unfair? As he walked up the mountain, he breathed with a vengeance as if he was deprived of oxygen. Halfway up the mountain, he saw a beautiful girl holding a big bucket in both hands appearing in his eyes. Ren Hucheng quickly bowed gracefully. I am Ren Hu. Wow! Without even looking at him, Yasusu poured a bucket of steaming bath water onto the mountain road, her ponytail flying in the air, and left without looking back. I don't recognize you, no matter who you are. I still have to warm my cousin's bed. Ren Hucheng stood there with an embarrassed look on his face. Suddenly, he looked startled again. Looking at the bath water flowing down the mountain road, he lost his composure. Spiritual liquid. It's ectoplasm. You must know that it takes a large amount of spiritual mist to condense into a small amount of spiritual liquid. In front of his eyes, a large amount of spiritual fluid was flowing towards him from the road. That visual impact, simply, it was about to flow past his feet. Even if Ren Hucheng wanted to die, as a cultivator, how could he bear to turn a blind eye? He quickly took out a storage bag and carried the opening of the storage bag on the mountain road, letting the spiritual liquid flow into the bag. I saw that there was still a little spiritual fluid left in a small pit, so I looked around again. No one. He quickly lay down on the ground, put his mouth into the small mud puddle, and took a few deep breaths. Ah, it smells so good. Then, Ren Hucheng stood up with a happy expression. Bah! Bah! He spit out the mud and grass in his mouth like someone spitting tea foam. pretended to be nonchalant, and continued walking towards Iran Peak. Chapter 16 Brother, let me show you how hard I am. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Soon after, we came to a lawn where chickens were penned. Suddenly, Ren Huchong stopped in his tracks as he was passing by, as if he had discovered something huge and strange. His eyes widened. How is this possible? How is this possible? Is there something wrong with my eyes? That he couldn't help but start to doubt himself. He saw little flashes of light everywhere in the lawn. They were elixirs. Even his father, the Holy Lord Sun Yao, who was about to die of old age, dreamed of them but couldn't get the longevity elixir. One pill of this pill can increase your lifespan by 100 years. And a group of chickens were leisurely pecking at the elixirs. Feed Shou Yuan Dan. Chicken. Ren Huchong's face was full of shock. What kind of place is Iran Peak? After being stunned for a few seconds, a hurdle, he jumped over the fence excitedly and jumped into the grass, picking it up on the ground. For a moment, I forgot what I was here to do. Cluck. The chickens couldn't help but became furious when they saw someone snatching their food all over the ground. They flapped their wings and flew up, grabbing and pecking at Ren Huchong, afraid of making any noise and being discovered. Ren Huchong covered his head with one hand and let the chickens trample and peck on his body and head, while he searched quickly on the ground with his other hand. Soon after, covered in chicken feathers, he rushed out of the chicken coop with a look of ecstasy and fled. While running away, he was so happy that he just wanted to shout loudly. Suddenly, he stumbled, as if he had seen a ghost, and fell to the ground in a panic. Not far ahead, on the mountain peak, there were 3 people talking and laughing, 2 men and 1 woman. One of the young men was the one he wanted a knife for on this trip, Li Congxin, but at this moment, Ren Huchong was not surprised, but his heart collapsed directly. My heart went cold. This young master Taigon really can't move if he wants to. With that terrible guy protecting him, how could he possibly have the chance to kill Li Congxin? Young master, there is someone over there. Chu Fij was very cautious when he found someone. New siblings, don't worry about that kid. Li Yi said disdainfully, I've beaten that guy more than a dozen times. Chu Fij blushed, I'm really just the young master's, not your new. Li Yi didn't care, it's all a matter of time. Ren Huchong got up from the ground with a trembling face, and said with a forced smile, Brother Li is here too. Once, when he was in a brothel, a young man fell in love with a girl at the same time as him. When he encountered this kind of thing, he, the holy son of Sun Yao Holy Land, must have wanted to show off in front of the girl, so he said to the young man, Get out of here if you are wise, or I will beat you every time I see you. Then, he just left. In the following time, he met the young man 13 times on different occasions and was beaten 13 times. The person who made him feel weak when he heard it was Li Yi. However, Li Yi was not interested in him at the moment, but said to Li Congxin in a hurry, Brother, let me show my cousin how far your physical body has been tempered. What do you think? Li Congxin, who had just been put down by Li Yi, was feeling lazy. Henglian naturally depends on resistance. Li Yi punched his strong chest muscles with his fist. To train your body horizontally, on the basis of strength, what you pursue is super defense. In one word, hard. Looking at your handsome appearance with thin skin and tender flesh, I must have just started practicing, so the heat shouldn't be too deep. After that, he simply said, Let's do this. How about my cousin show you first so that you can gain insights? I also want you to have a good idea. Listen to your cousin and practice with him in the future. You can't go wrong. Okay. Li Congxin smiled and said that he didn't mind watching someone perform for free. Do you have any weapons? Bring one out. Li Ye's iron tower-like bronze body stood in front of Li Congxin. Come on, let me show you how powerful the Congtian tyrant body is and how tough I am. After buckling up, his eyes widened, and the tendons on his body all bulged out like earthworms as thick as his wrists. On the body, a terrifying blood energy of an ancient constitution is released. It turned into a blood flame several feet high. Ruff yelled, Come and chop me if you are a brother. Li Congxin's mouth twitched, he was too tough. Henglian was really not suitable for a wealthy young man like him who was as gentle as jade. He was really too lazy to put in the effort, so he said to Chu Fij, "Can you go and test how strong my cousin's defense is for me?" Chu Fij was stunned. Me? That he thought to himself. Could it be that Li Congxin wanted to test her strength? Good. Seeing Li Yi with blood and flames curling on the tiger's body, Chu Fij did not dare to underestimate him, but he also did not dare to be too presumptuous, so he took out a yellow-grade long sword. Look at the sword. With a clear shout, a sword struck Li Yi's shoulder, boom. There was a loud sound, and the long sword was broken into 2 pieces. Your sword is too bad. Li Yi was unscathed, with a look of dissatisfaction on his face. Use a more powerful weapon. My cultivation has reached the martial emperor realm. Don't worry, you can't hurt me. Chu Fij was secretly shocked, so he took out another xianpin long sword, bit his jade teeth slightly, and struck Li Yi on the shoulder with another sword. Under the sword, a sharp light appeared, boom. As a result, he was thrown back by the shock. The plain hand holding the sword was raised high due to the rebound force, and the xianpin long sword in his hand was broken into 2 pieces. He couldn't help but look shocked. So hard. Li Congxin was also surprised. Without the use of true energy to protect the body, no martial emperor would dare to resist xianpin weapons like this. Ha ha ha, isn't my brother awesome? Li Yi was very proud, even more proud, and moved his head forward. Do you have a stronger weapon? Just hit my head directly. This man is called the King of Henglian, and he is truly worthy of his reputation. Chu Fij no longer dared to be careless, so he took out an earth-grade long sword, used his full strength, and struck him on the head with one sword. Under the sword, the wind and thunder sounded, when. Buzz! There was a loud noise, and Li Congxin felt his ears filled with a vibrating buzzing sound. The buzzing sound of the long sword vibrating made the entire space throb. After all, it was a high-quality weapon, and it was not broken by the counterattack this time. Brother, how are you? Is this defense powerful enough? Li Yi touched his intact head with a proud look on his face. Sharp. He is worthy of being the #1 horizontal refining king. Li Congxin gave a thumbs up. They were a family, so he naturally praised them generously. At this moment, Ren Huchong, who was not far away, had a trembling face. He did not use his true energy to protect his body, but used his pure body to taste weapons with his head. He was a monster, he was simply too monster. I'm afraid there will never be another person like this evildoer in the world. At this time, Chu Fij, who was originally the darling daughter of heaven, felt a hint of stubbornness in her heart. Wow! With a wave of xia xiu, a dazzling light suddenly appeared in her bright wrist. For a moment, the killing light released by a powerful weapon caused dense chills to form on people's bodies. Li Yi, who was grinning, twitched the corner of his mouth. How come this girl still has a heavenly weapon? Look at the sword. However, Chu Fij had already raised his sword and struck him on the head. As the daughter of destiny and destiny in this world, she must have something in her hands. This sword is of the heaven grade level and is her top priority. Seriously. Li Zi panicked, but if the girl attacks him with a sword, if he gets cold feet, won't he be embarrassed in front of his cousin? So he could only bite the bullet, and his heart trembled. For a moment, the earthworm-like muscles on his head were crowded on the top of his head, and the blood on his body swelled. Carry it with all your strength, boom. Under the confrontation, the bloody light and the sharp sword light bloomed like flowers. Chu Fij's body trembled due to the shock, and he took a few steps back. Fine. It's okay. Li Yi screamed in pain and turned around quickly, grinning and winking, his facial expressions crazily distorted. Weapons of the same grade must have different powers in the hands of cultivators of different realms. Fortunately, this girl's cultivation level is not too strong, otherwise, he will definitely have a brain blossom. After all, this is a powerful heavenly weapon. After a while, with his head buzzing, he turned around again and said, "How about it, cousin? You see, even the top-grade weapons can't hurt me. Are you tough enough?" Awesome. Li Congxin gave a thumbs up. Chu Fij was a little dissatisfied. Young master has a holy weapon in his hand. Li Yi staggered. Cough cough cough. With a sneer on his face, new siblings, we are not joking. Who the hell dares to resist a holy weapon? Weapons of this level have the power to destroy heaven and earth, and even quasi-emperors must avoid their sharp edges. At this moment, Ren Huchong felt despair again. With Li Yi, a strong man, what if he went to Iran Peak? He couldn't hurt Li Congxin at all. I'll try. Li Congxin thought it was quite fun and became somewhat interested. Now, every bone in his body is a supreme bone, coupled with the god-level Great Thunder Sound King Kong's indestructible divine body, and the god-level cross-training technique, Gods and Demons Muscle chapter, is at full level. He can't help but wonder about his current defense. How strong is the force? The most important thing is that you can just stand while others chop it, and you don't have to move anyway. Li Yi was shocked when he heard this. The physical body resists sharp weapons, this is no joke. His cousin is the only heir to the Taigon Holy Land. His body is delicate and his flesh is very expensive. He quickly suggested, brother, you have just started practicing, so be sure not to hurt yourself. Why don't you find a wooden sword? No need to bother. Li Congxin said to Chu Fij with a smile on his face, just try it with the sword in your hand. This. Chu Fij looked embarrassed. No. Li Yi was shocked, brother, please don't show off. You are different from me. I am the king of horizontal refining, but you are just getting started. This is a heavenly weapon. If you hit it with one sword, you will be cut in half. Are you so afraid? Don't you know what's going on with me? If you want to die, it will be harder than climbing to heaven. Li Congxin made a helpless expression. My eldest queen sister has preserved a drop of my essence a long time ago. Even if I am broken into two halves, my father and master sisters can still find a way to revive me. That's true. Li Yi scratched his head and smiled, just because you are afraid of pain and don't want them to touch your body, if it is really broken, maybe I can reshape you into a better body. Chu Fij. Ren Huchong. Annoying. It's so Versailles. As long as the background is hard enough, you can really commit suicide. Li Congxin stood with his hands behind his back, looking calm and calm. Come on, don't let go. Chapter 17, A new generation of Henglian King is born and a rebate is given. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay. Chu Fij nodded decisively, remembering that there was still a trace of the emperor's killing power in Li Congxin's body. She actually didn't think she could hurt Li Congxin. If Li Congxin couldn't resist, that trace of killing power would definitely burst out with power to resist. She was more confident in Li Congxin than Li Yi. Young master, look at the sword, that she shouted delicately, and in the raised snow-white wrist, the strong light of the heavenly long sword flashed, releasing a chilling killing light that made people's bones cold. She slashed with a sword, crack, crack, the space kept exploding, and the sound of wind and thunder kept ringing. Oh my God, Li Ye's heart trembled, he really didn't let her go. The power of this sword was even greater than the sword that just chopped him. When the long sword slashed on Li Congxin's shoulder, buzz. A powerful divine light containing infinite brilliance rushed out of Li Congxin's body, and his whole body was suddenly surrounded by dense golden Sanskrit, like a divine talisman forbidden spell from ancient times. His whole body became extremely sacred and majestic under the golden light, supreme. Boom! The long sword slashed on his body, and the golden light burst out was even more dazzling. A heavenly long sword was directly crushed into countless powders filled with golden light. Under the impact of the divine light, Chu Fij's delicate body floated backwards. She barely stood firm after floating back 100 meters, looking at the only hilt left in her hand. Her handsome face was already shocked. Under the shock, her body was still surging violently. Li Yi could only resist heavenly weapons, but Li Congxin just broke the heavenly weapons. It turned out that his body was so strong. No way. Li Yi opened his mouth wide, and his two eyes were already as big as copper bells. Normally. As soon as the resistance released by the body disappeared, Li Congxin had returned to normal, with a smile on his face, still like a spring breeze, neither arrogant nor impatient. It should be that this sword is not strong enough. Yu said, his consciousness moved, suddenly, a square-shaped, simple, and broad-bladed sword appeared in the void. As soon as this sword came out, in the space, a deterrent force that suppressed the soul increased sharply, and the vast killing power soared wildly. It can be seen with the naked eye that under the strong killing intent, the surrounding grass and trees were destroyed. Holy weapon, holy ruins, great sword. No way, Li Yi shouted again, there really is a holy weapon. No, no, no. Seeing this, Chu Fij was also pale and kept retreating. Her face was full of rejection, and she kept shaking her hands. Young master, you are too hard, I can't bear it, I won't come, I won't come. The stronger the weapon, the greater the power, and similarly, the more terrifying the rebound force. She has already suffered a lot just now. If she uses this sword to cut Li Congxin again, she will definitely suffer a big loss. Li Congxin looked at Ren Huchong. Who is that? He couldn't remember the name, and shouted, hey, brother-in-law, you come. After that, his consciousness moved, and the sword in the void moved directly in front of Ren Huchong. Ren Huchong opened his mouth wider than Li Yi. He looked at Li Congxin dumbfounded, and the whole person was stunned. Did he want him to use the holy weapon to chop Li Congxin? No way. Will there be such a good thing? It's a bit unbelievable. You called me? Yes. Li Congxin was very sure. You come. Hearing this, Ren Huchong's heart became excited again, and his face was almost unable to hide the ecstasy. What is he here for? The opportunity, isn't it here? The heavens are open. Okay, then I'll do it. He quickly grasped the big sword in front of him, held it in his hand, as if he was experiencing some wonderful touch, closed his eyes, and took a deep breath. A face full of aftertaste. He had never touched a holy weapon in his life, but today he finally touched it. Then, since even Li Congxin himself was going to give him a chance, if he still couldn't grasp it, he would be useless and worse than a dog. Ha! He let out a loud roar. He jumped directly and soared 100 meters into the sky. In the sky, Ren Huchong held the Holy Ruins sword with both hands, released the strongest power of the Grandmaster realm, and slashed at Li Congxin's head with all his strength. Boom. Under the sword, there was a stunning killing light that split the sky. The vast killing intent surged violently from the killing light. Facing the big sword that was coming, Li Congxin still stood leisurely with his hands behind his back. Boom. When the big sword hit him, he, who had the great thunder sound Vajra indestructible divine body, once again showed supreme golden light on his body, surrounded by ancient Buddhist seals, mysterious Sanskrit, and radiant with sacred light, in addition to the supreme bone, which can greatly improve the body's resistance, and the god and demon muscles that has been cultivated to the maximum level. With several abnormal defenses stacked together, the sword in Ren Huchong's hand was shaken and flew directly out of his hand, and flew into the sky. Ah! With a long and loud tragic scream, he was also bounced into the sky, flying thousands of meters high. Ah! The man was spinning in the sky. While in the sky, Ren Huchong was also extremely shocked. How could Li Congxin's body be so powerful? Even the holy weapons that even the quasi-emperor strongmen had to avoid could not cut him. At the same time, he was also extremely frustrated. He gave me a chance, but I was useless. Tears burst out of his eyes. Even if there was no one to protect me, and even if Li Congxin asked me to cut, it turned out that I couldn't hurt him at all. I am just a clown. Oh my god! Seeing Ren Huchong being thrown into the sky, Chu Fij's beautiful face was shocked, and his heart trembled. Fortunately, it was not her who had just taken action. Then he looked at Li Congxin. His beautiful eyes looked like gods and demons. He can break through while walking and sleeping, and cannot be cut by holy weapons. What kind of monster is this? Not bad. Li Congxin showed a rather satisfied smile. With his defensive power, it is certain that he cannot defeat the powerful quasi-emperor now, but the powerful quasi-emperor will definitely not be able to defeat him. As long as others can't kill you, you can mess around and enjoy life without any worries. Powerful. Too strong. Simply invincible. Li Ye's face was full of excitement and he gave thumbs up and praised, and he expressed sincere admiration. Brother, your defense is much stronger than that of me. Let's just say that our family is full of peerless geniuses, and how could you, the most important core figure of the family, the successor to the world's overlord, and the only holy son of our Taigon holy land, be a useless person, laughing loudly, you kid has hidden it too deeply. There was no jealousy, but openness, and she was extremely sincerely happy for Li Congxin. However, he was still a little embarrassed when he thought of what he had just said in front of Li Congxin. Ahem, cough, cough, from now on, you will be the #1 horizontal refining king. Brother takes a back seat. God-killing peak, on the top of the giant peak, between the clouds and mist, the overlord of the world, the great emperor Li Tianba, stood proudly above the sky and the earth. He has been paying attention to Li Congxin's situation. At this moment, his face was also full of emotion. My heart is ecstatic. I always thought that my son was weak, but it turns out that he is so powerful physically. Excited, he murmured to himself, I didn't expect that my son actually has some powerful ancient physique that even the test peak cannot detect, and he has never failed. How hard is it to temper the body? The stronger the physique, the more difficult it is to temper it. He also showed emotion on his face. In order not to worry me, he never revealed the truth. He pretended to be relaxed and comfortable in front of me, and worked hard secretly. You have tempered your body to such an extent at such a young age. How much effort did you secretly put in? How many unknown and extreme hardships did you endure? How much blood and sweat was shed? Thinking of this, Li Tianba suddenly turned around and covered his face with his hands. An iron-blooded overlord and an arrogant emperor could not help but burst into tears. It hurts, he feels so distressed, his big boy is so sensible. It had been almost half an hour since he came out, and his feet were a little sore from standing. Li Cong thought about going back and continuing to lie down. They are all members of our own family, no matter who is first or second. He smiled slightly at Li Yi, cousin, I'm tired. Should you carry me back intact? Or should I walk back by myself? Cousin hugs you. Li Yi had a silly smile on his face and strode over with open arms. Let's start again, you are my idol. Forget it. Li Congxin shook his hand, I'd better go by myself, just think of it as a walk. With his hands behind his back, he reluctantly opened his legs. You gain 6 days of cultivation. You get 1 level 7 elixir. You get spiritual cigarettes, Huazi 1 pack. You gain 8 days of cultivation. The system starts counting steps again, and every step brings blessings. Young master, your sword. After only walking a few steps, Chu Fij picked up the great sword of the holy ruins that fell from the sky, held it in both hands and presented it to Li Congxin. Li Congxin was too lazy to pick it up. I just shattered your weapon, so this one is given to you as compensation. Chu Fij looked surprised. First he was flattered, and then he was terrified. I can't have such a valuable thing. Besides, this is given to you by your master. It doesn't matter. Li Congxin said calmly, just take it. There are still 49 of this thing in his system warehouse. Then, thank you young master. Chu Fij was already extremely excited. He tried his best to maintain the restraint of a goddess, with a Buddha figure behind him. After losing a heavenly weapon and gaining a holy weapon, she must be very happy. Now, she is more sure that meeting Li Congxin is not a disaster, but a blessing in her life. The system is being upgraded. The upgrade failed. The upgrade failed. Li Congxin stopped. What are you doing? The 444th upgrade, the system upgrade was successful. Ding! Reminder, you have turned on the gift rebate function. Giving rebates, anything given by the host will be rebate on the spot by the system. The minimum rebate amount is 100 times and the maximum is 1,000 times. Reminder, you are gifted X1 from the Sacred Ruins Great Sword. Congratulations, the maximum 1,000 times bonus rebate has been triggered, and you have obtained 1,000 Holy Ruins Great Swords. Li Congxin. Crazy. He just gave the girl a sword, but as a result, the system got jealous again or something, and actually produced 1,000 great swords of the Holy Ruins for him. If you want to give something to a girl, I will make it look like a cabbage. Chapter 18 Endless Chi Si Attack and Defense. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The flatter you lie down, the faster you grow. Unlimited draws bring critical hits. The system counts steps. Any skill can be fully leveled directly. Free rebates up to 1,000 times. Looking at these perverted system functions, Li Congxin could only smile helplessly. System, just roll in. Again, if I try hard, I won't work hard, and I will never work hard in this life. It's up to you, be as agitated as you want. Anyway, it's good for me if you're happy. Wow. A bright light suddenly appeared, and a gorgeous and extremely domineering bloody long knife appeared in Li Congxin's hand. The knife is 1 meter 6 long, and the blade is sharp with killing intent. He took out the hot-blooded war blade among the 3 holy weapons given by his master and threw it directly at Li Yi. Cousin, an impenetrable defense combined with an indestructible attack is truly awesome. That I gave a handful to the girl, how could I miss the jealous brother standing next to me? He always valued a true brother. The most important thing is that you won't lose money anyway. Ding. The gift was successful. Congratulations, you have triggered the 100 times rebate and obtained 100 hot-blooded glaives. Li Congxin expressed his contempt in his heart. I just got 1,000 times rebate. If I give it to my brother, it will become the lowest 100 times rebate. How embarrassing. Li Yi took the hot-blooded war blade and was so happy that he could hardly close his mouth. He kept breathing and wiping it with his sleeves. You don't have to pretend to me. Li Congxin said, we have been shitting together since childhood and growing up, how can I not know what you are thinking? Li Yi patted his thigh, hey, I'm surprised. Every time you poop, it's a tip higher than what I poop. He was also very puzzled, it must be that you are destined to be more extraordinary than me. Nothing. Li Congxin did not irritate him, it's just that you poured in all kinds of body-refining medicinal liquids and it became dilute for a long time. Continue to take a leisurely walk, each step brings blessings. Chu Fij on the side couldn't help but chuckle, these 2 brothers, so sweet. Looking at Li Congxin's elegant back and remembering what he just said to Li Yi, Chu Fij suddenly showed a fantasy look on his face. His defense is already shocking, but he doesn't know if he has any powerful attack methods. If there were, that would be really extraordinary. Well, there certainly is. Yo ho. Li Congxin, who was strolling, stopped. In front of him, there was a man lying down, blocking his way. Looking at Ren Hu Chong lying on the ground, Li Congxin frowned slightly. You said, go around, it will take a few more steps, it will be strenuous. You said you should just step over him, but the steps would be a bit big. If you accidentally pull the egg, what would you do? Then he asked, hey, what about, uncle, what are you doing here? Ren Hu Chong, whose face was covered with nosebleeds after falling from a high altitude, struggled to get up from the ground. Looking at the smiling Li Congxin, his heart couldn't help but tremble. Panic, I felt quite panicked. What to do? What to do? He kept asking himself, how could he dare to state his purpose now? He quickly said with a smile on his face, brother-in-law, I heard that you are in a bad mood because of the test. I came here specially to visit you. Hey, I didn't know that it turned out to be all rumors. How could the young master of Taigon Holy Land be a loser? Since you are here to visit, empty-handed, it would be too fake, but if the young master of Taigon Holy Land in front of him casually brought out anything to deal with him, it would be an insult to him. So I could only grit my teeth. He reluctantly took out a yellowing secret book from his arms. This sword manual is called Wanli Quangsha Sword Technique. It is an intermediate heaven-level swordsmanship secret book. It is a gift given to you by your brother-in-law. That's it. Li Congxin took the secret book in his hand and looked at it, not very interested, but I still accepted it. Sometimes, accepting gifts is to give people peace of mind. Ren Hu Chong was indeed relieved, but with a forced smile on his face, he was completely broken inside. The high-end resources and high-end things in this world have long been taken over by Li Congxin's family. His heaven-level secret book was purchased from Li Congxin's second sister's auction house at a great price by Sun Yao. Holy Land. Before he had time to practice, it was given to Li Congxin again. The money was wasted, and the things returned to the hands of his Li family. Ren Hu Chong felt like crying. Just as Li Congxin took over Ren Hu Chong's heavenly sword technique, the system prompt sounded again in his head. Ding. The lottery is in progress. Congratulations, you have obtained 3 burning sword intentions. The power of these 3 sword intentions are, divine level, holy level, and peak heaven level. Tip: does the host understand and practice these 3 sword intentions? Li Congxin was not surprised at all that this system would involve everyone, lest Li Congxin find it troublesome. The system added, sword intention is different from sword moves. It only requires a spiritual thought from the host to release or send and receive it. Whatever the heart thinks, wherever the mind goes, kill wherever it goes. In short, there is no need to move your hands and feet ha, let alone jumping up and down. Just think about it, it seems good. Li Congxin smiled and said in his heart, anyway, I don't need to use my brain and energy, so just understand and practice. Ding! You have understood the 3 burning and killing sword intentions. Tip: the level has been reached instantly. Following the sound of the system prompts, Li Congxin's brain has spawned 3 powerful sword intentions, each more terrifying than the last. With just one thought from his mind, those 3 sword intentions can be released at any time. The 3 burning and killing sword intents are the sky burning sword, the earth burning sword, and the human burning sword. It also has a very vulgar and interesting name: super sword, big sword, medium sword. The sword can cut through thousands of wind and thunder. The great sword can tear open the dark sky. A super big sword that can split 9 levels of the sky with one sword. Feeling the 3 sword intentions, Li Congxin couldn't help but become interested and asked, brother, since you gave me the sword manual, is it possible that you also practice swordsmanship? Although he felt very sad, Ren Huchong still stood up. I have been studying since I was a child, and I have some attainments. The voice mentioned, at the age of 3, you realize the meaning of the sword. At the age of 8, you can control the sword. At the age of 17, you develop sword energy. At the age of 26, you walk on the sword. At the age of 32, you can enter the master realm with the way of the sword. It goes without saying about your resume. I'm not looking for bodyguards here. Li Congxin smiled and said, how about practicing with me? Ren Huchong looked surprised. Brother-in-law, have you also been practicing swordsmanship since childhood? At this time, Chu Fij also lit up his beautiful eyes. Never delve into it. Li Congxin said honestly, I just suddenly realized something, so I just wanted to try it. Chu Fij. Since my brother-in-law is interested, I will play with you. Ren Huchong's expression perked up. The way of swordsmanship is completely opposite to that of horizontal training. Li Congxin, a reckless man who practices horizontal training of the body, will definitely not understand. I suddenly realized something. It was so self-righteous. No matter how powerful a genius is, he cannot create a set of skills in a single thought. Although he couldn't hurt Li Congxin, if he could show off in front of Li Congxin and regain some face, that would be a little comfort. He said loudly, brother-in-law, take action. If there are any shortcomings, I can give you some pointers. Thank you in advance. Li Congxin said with a smile on his face, I have 3 swords, the super sword, the big sword, and the middle sword. Which sword do you choose? Ren Huchong's expression was stunned. Damn it, is the name of the sword move so casual? Could it be that you just suddenly realized it? There was a bit of doubt on his face. Then let me choose a super big sword to try first. Li Congxin narrowed his eyes. As his spiritual thoughts moved, the true energy was like a mountain torrent bursting out of the embankment, and the true power in the sea of qi in the dantian was instantly dried up and completely gone. The super large sword is a god-level sword. To release it requires an extremely large amount of real power, which is impossible to achieve with his current cultivation level. It's boring. Li Congxin couldn't help but show a dull expression. He finally got a little interested, but it turned out to be so disappointing. Did he want him to roll up, set a goal for himself, and start working hard? Forget it, stop playing, go home, lie down, and continue to mess around. Ding. The host should never leave. Host, please be patient and don't be impatient. It is a system error, and the system will find a solution immediately. Please give this system 3 seconds to help the host solve the current problem. The system is being upgraded, the upgrade failed, the upgrade failed, the 386th upgrade, the upgrade was successful. Ding! Congratulations, you have obtained the Endless Chi Sea. Endless Chi Sea, Dantian turns into a bottomless cave. Inexhaustible true energy can be extracted from the Chi Sea Dantian. Li Congxin stopped when he was about to leave. He felt that the Dantian under his lower abdomen had turned into a vast ocean at this moment, a boundless ocean of true energy. He didn't know how wide and deep it was. Seeing Li Congxin squinting his eyes and making no movement, Ren Hucheng thought to himself, what sudden enlightenment. What about the super big sword and the big sword? It is really just nonsense. A reckless man who practices horizontally does not understand the way of the sword at all. Boom. The aura caused Li Congxin's flowing robes and long hair to fly around. Boom. A sword intention burst out from his body, rushing. The sharp edge continued to rise with the force of the sky, 10 meters, 100 meters, 1,000 meters, soaring into the sky, straight into the sky. Boom. The sword intent that rushed out from his body broke through the clouds and mist, shattered the void, and soared up to the 9 heavens. The sword intention was like Li Congxin's elevated consciousness of killing, although he has an endless sea of qi, because Li Congxin has cultivated to the Kai Grandmaster realm, releasing his sword intent is like pumping water from the sea, and the realm is a water pipe. Now his water pipe is not big enough, so this 10,000-foot high sword intent is constantly rushing up one section at a time. If one's cultivation is strong enough, in a single thought, a 10,000-foot long sword will appear instantly. Boom! The sword intent reaching 10,000 feet released the aura of destroying the heaven and earth. For a moment, not only Iran Peak, but also the entire Taigon Holy Land was shrouded in the intention of burning and killing. Looking up at the sword intent thrust into the sky, Ren Hucheng bent his knees and knelt directly in front of Li Congxin. Chu Fiji's beautiful face was filled with shock, and her heart was beating rapidly. Li Yi also let out a shocking shout, I call you your mother. That if this sword is cut down, it will definitely not be like breaking rivers and splitting mountains, but it will burn the world. There will definitely be a terrifying rift valley spreading far and wide on the ground. All living things around the Great Rift Valley were turned into powder, and everything was burned. Chapter 19 My son has an invincible figure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What a powerful sword. Which senior in my holy land is angry? Iran Peak. The sword intent came from Iran Peak. As the sword intent appeared, the cultivators in Taigon Holy Land were shaken, and figures flew up one after another, shaking their heads in the air to find out. Immediately, everyone was shocked. Damn it, it's the young master. You are really young master. Young master, are you such a badass? This sword is so strong that it can destroy the martial emperor and kill the martial saint, right? Aren't our young masters incompetent in every way? Everyone looked shocked, on the god-killing peak. What? That even Li Tianba let out a startled voice, his face was full of shock and disbelief. Is my son so powerful? Why don't I know this at all? No way. Immediately, he looked ecstatic again. Not only does he have a superb defensive physique, but he is also so powerful in swordsmanship. He combines both offense and defense. This is an invincible appearance. How could a tiger father give birth to a dog? My son has been hidden so deeply over the years, and it has been so hard for me to hide him. My son has the appearance of an emperor. This time, he was not hiding. Instead, he was so excited that tears filled his eyes. He looked up to the sky and laughed as if he had untied a knot in his heart for many years. Who said his son is useless? This sword alone is considered invincible. From now on, who the hell dares to say that his son is a waste? Rumble, Li Congxin's heart moved, and the 10,000-foot-high sword trembled slightly. It carried the power of heaven and earth in all directions, and seemed to have the potential to cut down. Ren Hucheng's liver and gallbladder were split. No. He knelt on the ground and kept waving his hands. He was so scared that he almost vomited his liver. He shouted at the top of his throat, I choose the big sword, I want to choose the big sword. I didn't tell you earlier. Li Tsong's mind moved, bah. The murderous intent was dissolved, and the huge sword turned into a 10,000-foot sword. Intent disappeared instantly, and the aura of destruction disappeared between heaven and earth. Ren Hucheng breathed a sigh of relief, boom. But immediately, another terrifying sword intent emerged from Li Tsongxin's body, soaring into the sky, reaching a height of thousands of feet, majestic, domineering, and full of murderous intent. Looking at the thousand-zhang sword intention, Ren Hucheng almost lost his mind again, but he was still scared out of his wits. No, no, no. He kept waving his hands, and then changed his tone and shouted, I choose the sword, I want to choose the sword. Li Tsong withdrew the big sword with a thought in his mind, and boom, after the aura was released, a sword intention shot out from his body again, majestic and spectacular, 100 feet high. 100 feet is more than 300 meters, which is equivalent to the height of a 100-story building. The momentum of trying to chop him down was like a skyscraper about to topple towards him. No, no, no. Ren Hucheng was also horrified, yelled, I choose the little sword, I want to choose the little sword. Where's the little sword? Li Tsongxin rolled his eyes, waved his sleeves, retracted the sword, and walked towards his residence with a leisurely expression. I want you to try a sword, and you have a lot of demands, no more playing. Ren Hucheng's whole body went limp and he collapsed on the ground covered in sweat. At this moment, he felt an unparalleled despair in his heart. He was super strong in horizontal training, super strong in swordsmanship, both offensive and defensive, and yet he actually came all the way to attack Li Tsongxin. Who gave him the courage? Chu Fij, who also felt that his bones were soft and tender, looked at Li Tsongxin's back as if he were a god. You know, Li Tsongxin also has powerful attack methods. It was just as she expected. After calming down, he followed lightly and walked obediently behind Li Tsongxin. His Li Yi, who was originally a madman, shuddered, and then grinned, cousin, I have to leave first. He discovered that Li Tsongxin was not only not a waste, but an invincible genius. Although he was not jealous and was very happy, he was really stimulated. This world is inherently complicated. The Taigon Holy Land, where geniuses gathered, was particularly violent. He had to go back to practice in seclusion as soon as possible. Before leaving, boom. Oops, that when he passed by Ren Hucheng, he punched him in the face without saying a word, so hard that his nose exploded and his face was covered in blood. Li Tsongxin was surprised. Why are you beating my uncle? Hey, this is the agreement between us. Ha ha ha. Amid laughter, Li Yi strode towards the foot of Iran Peak. Li Tsongxin couldn't help but become a little curious. What's the agreement between you two? It's so exciting to play. Ren Hucheng covered his nose, feeling sad. Hit me every time you see me. Oh. Li Tsongxin suddenly understood that he was not surprised at all that the geniuses in his family had this agreement with outsiders. He continued his leisurely stroll. After walking a few steps, he turned back and said, Brother, why are you following me? Ahem. Ren Hucheng laughed a few times. Immediately, his expression straightened. To be honest, I went up the mountain this time because my little sister was worried about you and asked me to take care of you. Covering his nose with one hand, he swore with the other, Brother-in-law, from now on, I will follow you. Whether it is going up to the house to uncover the tiles or going down to the cave to touch the snake, everything will be at your command. Now, his admiration for Li Tsongxin is like the water of the Yellow River flooding out of control. He had forgotten what he was here for. The inner thoughts have completely changed. He even began to brainwash himself. Why kill Li Tsongxin? That was just a joke. He came to Iran Peak to take care of Li Tsongxin for his sister. Yes, that's it. I have always thought so. Moreover, he was not angry at all about his sister's name change, nor did he feel humiliated. With such a brother-in-law with a huge background and an invincible appearance at a young age, it would be reasonable to change his name, not to mention changing his surname. Yes, absolutely reasonable. He followed behind Li Tsongxin with a flattering face. Young master, from now on I am yours. The title has changed, so natural, Li Tsongxin said lightly. I am not used to being taken care of by men. There are already two beautiful women around him, one warming his bed with warm water, and the other massaging his back. Why does he need such a big man? Or his brother-in-law, Ran Hu Chong said anxiously, "Young master, I have a special skill." "Oh?" Li Congxin asked in surprise, "What special skill do you have?" Ran Hu Chong said loudly, "I am a great cook." "You can also cook?" Li Congxin was a little surprised. A holy son of a holy land has such a strong skill. So he used the eye of truth to investigate. Character, Ren Hu Chong, cultivation, Grandmaster Realm Level 1. Special tip, this person has a taste spiritual root and is born with a very high talent for cooking, and even has the potential to be a chef god. I was shocked. He had heard of fire spiritual roots, water spiritual roots, thunder spiritual roots, and even any mutant spiritual roots, but he didn't expect that there were taste spiritual roots in this world. Taste spiritual roots are born with a strong perception of the 5 flavors, so they have an extraordinary talent in cooking. Li Congxin couldn't help but look interesting. How can you enjoy life if you are full of spiritual energy every day and eat spiritual stones every meal? Enjoyment, of course, cannot be without the atmosphere of fireworks and delicious food, so he said, "Then go and cook a few dishes for me first, I will tell you after I try them." "Thank you for giving me the opportunity." Ren Hu Chong was overjoyed. The system is being upgraded, and the upgrade is successful. Ding! Congratulations, you have won the title of God of Cooking. Li Congxin. It's ridiculous, this also needs to be rolled. System, you really don't accept anyone. He came to enjoy this life, and he won't cook, so what's the point of this title? He could only shrug his shoulders and say it's up to you. Anyway, there's no harm in having one more skill. You can do without skills, but you can't do without them. Cousin, come in quickly. Cousin, if you don't come in, it will overflow. As soon as I returned to my residence, I heard the coquettish and sweet voice of Isusu, which gave people goosebumps. This little cousin who claims to have unparalleled talent is obviously a daughter of heaven, but her life goal since childhood is to take care of Li Congxin for the rest of her life. Although there is now a spiritual spring on Iran Peak, and abundant spiritual energy is everywhere. Even though Li Congxin is no longer a waste, she is still as usual as she has gotten used to. This lifestyle, cousin, come in. Li Congxin first got into the warm spirit gathering bed and took a nap. Not long after, a burst of fragrance woke him up. When he opened his eyes, he saw that the large dining table in the house was filled with a variety of dishes, each of which was extremely delicate, elegant, and high-end. It made people's appetite increase. Brother-in-law is so good. Looking at the dishes on the table, even Isusu and Chu Fij, who had seen a lot of the world, were surprised and licked their lips from time to time. Young master, you are awake. The food is ready. Ren Hu Chong, with a plaster on his nose, was full of joy. These are all the dishes I prepared for you. Dragon and phoenix flapping their wings to fly into the sky, a couple forever tied together, a jade unicorn gifted by heaven, auspicious fruits bring joy to the family, and 100 years of beautiful couples celebrate their happy marriage. Li Congxin had never seen these dishes before, but he, who had become a cooking god, understood them at a glance. Dragon and phoenix flapping their wings to fly into the sky is actually the original pot chicken wings, a couple forever tied together is curry bean paste crisps, and a jade unicorn gifted by heaven is fresh lily and asparagus. Chu Fij squatted beside the bed to put on his socks and shoes. Isusu brought spiritual water to help him wash his face. After a while, Li Congxin sat at the table. His brother-in-law bowed and waited on him from the side, and Isusu and Chu Fij stood behind him, one pinching his left shoulder and the other pinching his right shoulder. Li Congxin sighed in his heart, life is like this, what else can I ask for? That he picked up a pair of silver chopsticks and tasted them one by one. His taste buds were like flowers blooming in the spring fields. He couldn't help but praise, your cooking skills are good. You can stay in Iran Peak and be my cook in the future. Ran Hu Chong was overjoyed when he heard this. If he can stay in such a blessed place, why worry about his cultivation not making rapid progress? He vowed, young master, from now on, I will serve you in different ways every day, and I guarantee that there will be no repeated dishes in 3 days and 9 meals. Excitedly, he volunteered, Miss Chu has delicate hands and tender fingers. You don't have to bother her with the job of feeding chickens in the future. I will take care of it. Sunday Holy Land, on the top of the cliff, under a full moon, Renli Shuang stood in a fluttering dress, looking at the distant sky, with expectation and deep worry on her face. I don't know what happened to her brother. For her brother really did everything. I was so touched that my eyes turned red. I whispered softly, "Brother, you must come back safely. I want to eat the iced pear soup you made." Chapter 20. The system is jealous of being spoiled by the sisters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The beauties are pleasing to the eye, the food is refreshing, and Li Congxin enjoys happiness on Iran Peak. At this time, a large group of people appeared halfway up the mountain, forming a long line on the mountain road. They were walking up the mountain carrying large boxes. In those boxes, the light shines brightly and dazzlingly. 1 bite, 2 bites, 3 bites. 12 boxes in total. You can't spend it all, you can't spend it all. Yeah, so much, I can't spend it all in a lifetime. A lifetime? Are you new here? Do you know what level a child of the world is? Poverty really limits your imagination. This is just our young master's monthly pocket money. Looking at the big box that was so full that the lid could not be closed, many disciples from Taigan Holy Land were watching the fun from a distance. I think there's no need to go to such trouble. Just put it in the storage ring and send someone to send it back. What do you know? This is our second lady's style. What she pays most attention to in her work is 2 words, arrangement. That's right, the leader of the World Business Alliance, the biggest tycoon in Tianqin continent, must not be missing. It is necessary. As everyone knows, there is only 1 tael of silver in the world, and 9 of them are in the pocket of our second lady. The second lady is richest in the world, so she must be in style. Look, there are a group of weird people behind us. This group of people is so unique. They should be sent by our eldest queen. Probably. Our most powerful eldest lady and our most wealthy second lady send someone to Iran Peak once a month. Hey, good guy. A large group of people came to Li Congxin's residence and looked at the Lingshan spring milk hanging upside down on the roof. They were all shocked. A man who looked like a shopkeeper stood outside the door and said respectfully, "Young master, your pocket money for this month has been delivered." It is Liao Ming, an official under Li Yusin, the leader of the Tianxia Business Alliance. When Liao Ming was talking, a group of people had already placed the 12 boxes outside the house neatly and arranged them neatly. It was obvious that they had done this job of sending pocket money to the young master not once or twice, but many times. See young master. Afterwards, they stood outside the house together to greet Li Congxin. Looking at those boxes, Chu Fij, who was so blinded by the glare, almost held his breath, his beautiful eyes filled with shock. Ren Hu Chong opened his mouth with a click. Spiritual stone. They are all spiritual stones. Spiritual stones are the universal currency of this world and are also indispensable for cultivation. There are 4 types of spiritual stones: low grade, medium grade, high grade, and top grade. 100 low-grade spiritual stones can be exchanged for 1 piece of medium grade, 100 medium-grade spiritual stones can be exchanged for 1 piece of high grade, and so on. In short, the higher the level, the more spiritual power it contains, and the more expensive it is, and those boxes are all full of top-quality spiritual stones. Oh my God, not even Chu Fij, who had an extraordinary background, felt as if his cognitive ability had been forcibly refreshed at this moment. Ran Hu Chong has never seen so many top-quality spiritual stones in his life. Suddenly, his feet went weak again, and he quickly hugged the wall with his hands to barely stand still, almost paralyzed. Thunder was rolling in his heart. So many top-quality spiritual stones were just his brother-in-law's 1 month's pocket money. Facing those spiritual stones, Li Congxin had a calm expression. He nodded and continued to enjoy the food. Liao Guan's family, is my second sister very busy recently? In my mind, I couldn't help but recall Li Yusin's charming look when she looked back, her crescent-shaped eyes between smiles, as charming as the spring breeze. I haven't seen her in half a year. Yes. Liao Ming replied, the Alliance leader has been away from our current planet recently and is opening up a new business project in the Henglian continent in the outer domain, so he really can't take the time to come back to visit the young master. Li Congxin was shocked. Li Yusin not only monopolized various businesses in the entire Tianqin continent, but also expanded his business territory to other worlds. It's true that wherever his father attacks, his sister's shop will open. It's really money-loving. He shook his head helplessly and said softly, "It doesn't matter if you make more or less, as long as she is safe. Young master, you can rest assured about this. The Alliance leader himself is not weak, and he is protected by many strong people around him." Liao Ming looked like he was moved by the deep love between Li Congxin and his sister, and asked with a smile, "Young master, do you want to count the 12,000 top-grade spiritual stones this month?" Boom. Ren Huchong couldn't stand firm even while holding the wall. He directly supported the wall and knelt on the ground. My mentality collapsed on the spot. His monthly salary is only 150 yuan, a medium-grade spiritual stone. 12,000 top-quality spiritual stones, this is not just a monthly salary, but a month's pocket money. They are both the Holy Sun. Is the difference so big? While trembling, I couldn't help but calculate in my mind, 100 middle grade for one high grade, 100 high grade for one top grade, that is, 10,000 middle grade for one high grade. How many middle grade spiritual stones are equivalent to 12,000 top grade spiritual stones? His heart collapsed directly. There were too many, he couldn't count them. No. Li Congxin waved his sleeves and put all 12 boxes into the storage ring. The next second, ding. The unlimited draw is in progress. Congratulations, you have obtained 12,000 top-quality spiritual stones. Congratulations, this is a 10x crit lottery, you get 12,000 x 10 top-quality spiritual stones. Congratulations, this time the draw is 20 times the critical hit, you get 12,000 x 20 pieces of top-grade spiritual stones. As soon as he moved his hand, the system followed suit. Li Congxin looked at the top-grade spiritual stones that instantly became a mountain in the system warehouse, and 3 long black lines appeared on his forehead. Why are you dissatisfied again? That's my sister. Big brother, do you want to devalue all the prices? Although the leader has no time to come back to see the young master, he is always paying attention to your situation. Liao Ming said, "Young master, the leader also asked his subordinates to tell you not to worry about not being able to practice. Don't stay in the mountains all the time. You can go outside and take a walk to relax. For the practice, your family will find a way for you." After that, he held up a black card with both hands. He bowed and handed it to Li Congxin. This is the secondary card of the leader of the World Business Alliance. With this card, you can withdraw spiritual stones from more than 370,000 banks in the Tianqin continent at will. In the Tianqin continent that spans 160 million miles, all treasure pavilions, sword pavilions, brothels, gambling houses, flower boats, taverns, with this card, you can spend and withdraw things at will. The leader said that spending money is something that can make people happy physically and mentally. Since you are in a bad mood, spend money desperately, squander wildly, and spend it casually. Chu Fij. Yi Susu. Ren Huchong. The heart is trembling, the soul is shaking, it is difficult to hide, and the face is full of envy. With such a rich sister, and still so spoiled, who cannot envy? Well, I know. Li Congxin took Li Yusin's secondary card. He was also quite helpless in his heart. The second sister spoiled too much. If this goes on, sooner or later he will be spoiled. System. Ding. Infinite lottery continues. Congratulations, you won 999999999 pieces of top-grade spirit stones. Congratulations, this is a 100x crit draw. You won 999999999x 100 top-grade spirit stones. Congratulations, this is a 100x crit draw. You won 999999999x 100 top-grade spirit stones. Li Congxin. Brother, do you want to cause inflation? My sister spoiled me like crazy, and the system rolled like crazy. This time, I'm done. I can't spend it all. I really can't spend it all in my lifetime." After completing the task, Liao Ming took his men to leave. "Old slave, see the young master." Immediately, the second wave of people came up and appeared at the door of Congxin. The leader was an old eunuch with a ruddy face and kind eyes. Behind him followed a team of guards, who were either protecting or escorting 4 hunchbacked old women. All 4 old women had white hair, wrinkles on their faces like old bark that was about to fall off, and dull eyes, looking extremely old. It seemed that the yellow earth was about to cover their heads, and their energy was exhausted immediately. "Eunuch Kai, does my elder sister have no time to come and see me?" Li Congxin asked, and in his mind, he could not help but think of his elder sister Li Tianqin, who was wearing a crown and a long gown with a long tail dragging on the ground. Ahem. Eunuch Kai laughed a few times, as if he was apologizing on behalf of Li Tianqin. "Young master, you also know that the Shifang dynasty governs the entire Tianqin continent of 160 million miles. The queen is too busy. Every time you say you want to come back, you have hundreds of millions of people in your hands." Li Congxin spread his hands. "The whole family is busy, I am the only one who is free." Eunuch Kai thought to himself, "How dare you say that? Holy Lord, the eldest lady, the second lady, the reason why they work so hard is not to lay an immortal foundation for you." But he dared not really say that. "Young master, although the queen is busy, she always thinks of you." He pointed to the 4 white-haired old women behind him with a serious expression. "Look, these 4 top-quality products are found by the queen herself for you, and she specially asked the old slave to send them to nourish you." Puff. Li Congxin, who was drinking soup, sprayed all over the table. "Young master. Cousin." Chu Fij and Isusu, one on the left and one on the right, hurriedly rubbed his chest and back. There was also a look of shock on Jun's face, and he looked at the 4 old women in surprise. He cried in his heart, "No way. No way." Li Congxin's voice trembled, and he looked at the 4 old women, and his heart trembled even more. Where did his sister pull these old onions from? This is really super top quality. Holy and noble iceberg queen sister, when did your taste become so heavy? But you have changed, but I who like light food have not changed. He waved his hand and said, "I appreciate your kindness, but forget about people. Young master, you must have misunderstood." Eunuch Kai, who is very good at observing words and expressions, said hurriedly. He began to explain, "These 4 seniors are the 4 elders of the Xianyuan family, all of whom have the cultivation of the peak of the Grand Master. In this Tianqin continent, the Xianyuan family in the cultivation world is completely different from your Taiqian Holy Land, but their family has a special method, an ancient method of passing on skills.